Well, hello, and welcome back. For those of you that are joining in live, thank you very much. For those of you that are not joining in live, thank you very much as well. But I want to let you know, for those of you that are not actually joining in live, check the link in the description as you may find the edited version of this video for the Beyond Code Bootcamp playlist. Also, just wanted to take a minute to say thank all of you. Today we reached 2,000 subs, which is a relatively small number in the YouTube world, but a giant leap for me personally. So thank you very much, and spread and share. If something's good, please let other people know. I'd like to 10x that by the end of the year. I think it's totally possible. And tonight we're going to be talking about a continuation of what we talked about yesterday, except we're going to take our Git deployment and we're going to put it on the server side. So if you have any questions and you are watching in live, please go ahead and put those on YouTube, because I do have the YouTube comments open here and the top chat open, so I'll be able to see. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, whoops, and I'm going to put my, we're going to do it. We're going to do it like this. Yeah, okay. There we are. Well, hello, and welcome back. Tonight we're doing a continuation of what we did yesterday. We're going to take our deploy script, which is currently running locally on this system, and we're going to get that running on the remote server, so that whether I am committing code here from this computer or from a work computer or from a friend's computer, not that I'd commit code from a friend's computer, but anyway, we're going to get it so that that is deploying on the server. That's the main goal. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here we are with the screen up, and I want you to go ahead, as always, head over to gist.github.com, open up a previous gist that you have for notes, or create a new one, and let's keep this thing rolling. You'll be able to add it to your blog. It'll look great on your resume, and hopefully, you remember as well. That's kind of the most important thing. And if at any point you have one of those aha moments, go ahead and give this a thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right, so here we are. I'm in my blog directory just like we were before, and we have in here a hooks directory that we created. Hooks directory at the root of a Git project does not do anything special. I just called it that arbitrarily. But we have our deploy script, and in here it's very simple. It just runs our build script, and then it runs an rsync of to take what was built and publish it on the server. So we're going to modify this so that it is what the server needs it to be. And I have in the description a link, because we're going to cheat a little. See, what we're doing is very useful right now for the process that we're going through of this blog and learning about Git and learning about deployment. But the specifics of what we're going to do are kind of niche and not the kind of thing that I want to burden you with saying, oh, you should remember this or you should learn this. So we're going to use a little bit of a copy pasta here to accomplish this. So first thing that we need to do is I'm going to comment out this rsync, and then I'm going to remove our local commit hook that we have. So we have a local commit hook. It's in .git/hooks, and I believe it was post commit. We're going to remove that. And we're going to go on our server, and the goal is to get this to work right once, just kind of manually doing it. And then once we are sure that we have it right, then we'll automate the process. So let me go ahead and open up the link that I have in the description. Actually, I've got it right over here. Let me do that. So this is a blog article of mine from a couple of years ago. Again, if I had not written this article, I would not know how to tell you how to do what we're doing. I looked it up once, I went through, I documented it. I really tried to understand it thoroughly, not because I was going to commit it to memory, but because I wanted to commit it to, well, my long-term memory, my super archive, which is my blog. So what we're going to be looking for, this is actually the script right here. Okay. So when a hook gets created, and run, the hook will run from the root of the repository. So even though the script is under .git/hooks/postcommit or whichever type of hook we're using, where it's going to get run is the current working directory at the root of the Git repository. So that's where we are. You can see my .git folder is right here. So that's where it's going to get run. That's important to know. And it's also important to know that these hooks, when they get run, they receive arguments. So just like we have commands like mkdir that we've been using, where we give it the -p flag and then we give it a folder that we want it to go to. When Git runs these hooks, it essentially runs them kind of like this, except that I already deleted that. I'm going to undelete that by copying it back over real quick just so I can show this example. So we've got our deploy.git hooks post commit. There we are. Okay, so that's what we had it as before, is we just had a copy of the deploy script. So when we run this, and I'm actually going to edit it so that we can see this. When we run this, I'm going to do, I'm going to use echo in this case because it is the appropriate thing to use. So we're going to print out all of the arguments that it receives. We haven't talked about arguments before unless you're watching the edited version, in which case at some point the discussion on arguments will be back in the bash section like it should be. But I'm just going to go ahead and put these out here. So I think we actually did talk about arguments a little bit. Let's go back to the mkdir. So the 0th argument, when I run this command, to the command, the 0th argument is mkdir. So the 0th or first argument is the name of the command itself. The second argument in this case, or 1th, I'm saying 1th because it's index 1, is -p. And then the next one is this path. So this has 1, 2, 3 arguments. They're indexed 0, 1, 2. Okay? Whoa. So I'm going to go in here and we're going to print out what the arguments are. So the first one is going to be the name of the script itself, most likely. Or it could end up being Git, because Git is the thing that's running the script. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the name of the script. And then we're going to have an argument that is the things that are being passed in. And it's going to be information about the commit. So, for example, the branch name, perhaps the commit hash. I don't remember exactly what they are, but we'll see it in just a second. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do just exit 0 after this. Exit 0 means that it's going to exit without an error code, and it's not going to run anything after that. So that's what we're going to do here. So let me go ahead, and I actually should just be able to do... Got the yawns again. Okay, unbound variable. That's great. Good. So what that's saying is we set -u so that we can't accidentally use variables that don't exist. Apparently, there's not that many variables. So I'm going to delete one. We're going to run it again if we get that problem again. Okay, it means that there's not that many variables, or there are not that many arguments being passed in. There's got to be at least 2. Really? All right, we'll delete this again. I find that highly unlikely. But so it is. All right. Well, this was a poor example because this when Git. Oh, I know why. I know why. Let's go back here. Oops. So I'm going to make a junk commit so that Git runs this. The reason, of course, is because I was running it and I wasn't passing any arguments. I was just running the script by itself. So let's try this again. We're actually going to do, yeah, we'll leave it as exit 0. So I'm just going to create a junk file real quick. We'll call the junk file junk. I'm going to add it. We're going to commit it. And we'll back this out later. Okay, so we do get that same problem there. Let's try this again. Let's do... I'm just making changes for the sake of making them. We're going to undo this in just a second. I just wanted Git to run this. I'm having a hard time believing this. Git is running this. Huh, okay. So it turns out that the post commit hook does not receive any arguments. So sorry about that. We'll test this out on the server, or we'll just use the cheat sheet that I've got here. But the point is, the ref name, which is the branch name. So we've got master or main, maybe development or beta, stuff like that. That's going to be the first argument that goes in when Git calls the script. And so what we need to do is we need to capture that. And in my blog article, I was not as proficient in Bash as I am now, and I had some bad practices, so I'm going to fix that here because I'm a better person now. So I've got the ref name, and I'm going to go ahead and call this my ref name because that's what I like to do with local variables that are things that I'm creating. In Bash, at least. I don't do that in other languages, but I do it in Bash because there's so much in Bash that can be hard to understand. I like to have that my prefix. Okay, so we're going to have that. And we are going to, I'm going to just put this as, I don't remember whether we were doing master or main. I think we're doing master on this one. Yeah, so I'm just going to put that as master. This is setting a default variable, by the way. I'm not going to go into that, but just going to put that there. Setting a default variable, that way we can run this. No, I'm not going to do that, actually. Sorry for changing my mind so much, but that's how it goes sometimes. Okay. What we're going to need to do is we want to check to see if, let's say, master is equal to my ref name, or let's say main. We won't do the deploy for every branch. In this case, we're just going to deploy it for these two. I'm going to make that a little smaller so that we can read it better. Everything fits on, well, better being a debatable term here. But this does fit on one line, so I want it to fit on one line. Okay, there we are. Okay, the line's too long. What can I do here to fix that? Maybe I'll just do it like this. And then we can make this bigger again. Whoa, what was that? I think I accidentally hit the... Okay, recording's still going good. I hit some sort of hotkey on my keyboard by mistake. It's too hot to handle. Alright, bringing that back. Okay. So, we want to check if the branch is master or main. And if it is, or rather if it isn't, I think this is what we actually want to check. So actually if not and not, so if the branch is not master and it is not main, then we just want to exit out with 0, meaning we exit out cleanly. It just ignores that we exited it. It considers the task to be finished successfully. We're just going to ignore branches that are not master or main. If the branch is master or main, then what we need to do, what we're going to need to do is to check it out. But if you remember on the server, we have a special type of Git repository or database that is bare. And what that means is that no files are checked out. It's just the database. So what we're going to need to do is actually check out a version of the database in a temporary directory. And so, like I said, we're going to cheat a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this over. And I'll explain it just a touch, but I'm not going to go into detail on it. Because, again, this is not so much something that you're going to need to use on a daily basis. It's just something that's going to help us with this process that we're going through with our blog. Very highly specific. So we're creating a variable, my work tree. That makes sense. I was silly back in these days, and I didn't always put my quotes around things, which can lead to bugs, as I've demonstrated before. So mktemp-d-t just means make a temporary directory wherever the system or user temporary directory is, and then use a template. -t stands for template, and basically it's going to replace all these X's with just random something or other. It's going to look like a hash. And so it's going to do get work tree dot and then some stuff. And that's going to exist somewhere. It doesn't really matter where it is, because we're just creating a space where we can check out the files, we can build them, and then we can delete it afterwards. So no big deal here. So that's what that is. It's just getting that directory name. So then we're doing get work tree equals my work tree, and then get dir equals period checkout, and then we need to do my ref name, and I need to put those in quotes here. Okay. And basically what it's saying is don't check out the files into the Git repository because it's a bare repository, but do use the current directory as the Git repository because it is, and check out the branch that is either the main or the master branch, and do so forcefully. And don't tell me about any of the output unless it's an error. That's essentially what that means there. So we've got all that going on. Now we're going to need to go into that directory, run our build step, and then get out of the directory. So we're going to use pushd to go into the directory. And then we're going to run our build step. And we are going to still need to rsync, but we're going to rsync to where our web server is serving the files directly. So I guess we can just modify this. That'll be fine. So we don't need to put in the server name because we're already on the server. There we are. So we're going to build, and then we're going to rsync, and then we're going to pop back out of the directory. And I like to indent when I'm in a directory in a script, because a lot of times in scripts we want to go in a directory and out of a directory, and I like the indentation because it helps me keep track of knowing, okay, this part of the script's running in this directory versus the other part of the script's running in a different directory, especially when there's multiple layers of directories that are important to know which directory you're in. So that should do it. I know that seems a little bit complicated, but again, this is more just copy-paste stuff. I'm explaining it just so you know. But this is something I'd say, don't focus too much on learning all the details of it. We just need to know that we're creating a script very similar to the one we created before, but it's got to do some specific stuff because it's going to be on the server side. Okay, so let me just double check here that this all looks good. And it does to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cat that out, actually. Oh, that was edited in the post commit. I need to move that into our hooks directory. You know, I think I'm just going to call it different. I'm going to call this one remote deploy.sh. Okay, and then I'm going to do hooks remote deploy.sh. I'm going to cat that out so that I can copy it. And if you're on Mac, so I could copy it just by selecting. When I select, it copies. If you're on Mac, there's actually this nifty little command called pbcopy. I think it's paste buffer copy. I'm not really sure what it stands for. But anyway, if I cat a file and then pipe it to pbcopy, now it's in my copy buffer. So I've got that there. Let's go into the server. And let's go into, we put our repo in serve repos, and then we've got our Beyond Code repo here. And as you can see, it's the database. It's just the database, none of the files. So we're going to go into hooks, and we're going to do a post receive hook is what this is called. And I'm just going to paste all this in there. And let's just try it out to make sure that it really does work. Excuse me. So we know, you know what we need to do. We need to chmod just like we did before. Chmod post receive. All right, and we're going to do hooks post. Oh, we don't need to use bash because we have it identified as a bash script and we made it executable. So we can just run it directly now. Go ahead and do that. All right, unbound variable. Let's say that it is master. Okay, not a Git repository or any of the directories. .git. All right, let's see what went wrong here. Okay. Looks like we might have to update our build. I'm going to echo, well, I'll use printf in this case because it's fine to use. What is my work tree? Let's make sure we get that out here. So tree is just another name for folder or directory. So we're saying what's the work folder? Let's just go ahead and print that out. I'm going to put debug in front of this so we know that this is debug. Let's run that again. Scroll back here. All right, let's check and see if this temporary directory still exists. And indeed it does. Oh no, it does not. It indeed does not. So let's see, what do we need to do? I'm going to try a couple things out here. I think we might need to make sure that the directory is created because I'm not 100% sure. Seems like it should. We're not removing anything. That might just be giving us the name of the directory. What did I do down here? Yeah, that looks like I created it there. Okay. Sorry, I didn't expect to be debugging this live with you, but might as well. I thought I had it right, but I had not tested it before we started the stream. Okay, so git checkout work tree, my work tree. We can debug what the work tree is. All right, let me just do, let's do ls. Laugh. That should give us something. All right. So it is copying the stuff over there. All right, in this case, I think what we're going to need to do is, because we're actually using the git log in the build script, I think I'm going to have to change the build script to define where the git directory is. So that might be something that we need to pass in here. So we're going to need to pass it the output of print working directory, and we're going to have to change our build script ever so slightly. So I'm going to do that. I think that's going to be what we need. And what we're going to do, so we're going to pass in the git directory, and then we are going to give our script, when it runs git commands, we're going to give it what the git directory is explicitly. So let me back out of here. We're going to go into our build.sh, and where we're using git log and stuff. Okay. So what we need to do is my git dir equals, and we'll take so what I'm going to do is say, after the name of the script, the very first next thing should be the directory where the Git database lives. and I'm telling it this is just bash for set a default. So I'm telling it the default that it should assume is the current working directory from which the script is running. So that way, when we're building locally, it's still going to work. But when we're building remotely, it'll work too. And then we're going to have some get options. I believe that that's what this looked like. And then I actually just want to make this really short. So I'm going to call this my get D because I want it to fit in line. I want the variable name to fit in line with these. So we're just going to do like that. So that's going to pass in this entire flag here. That way it doesn't expand to be on too many lines. So I'm just going to fix that in a couple places. 1, 2, I think that's it. So that should work. All right, I'm going to go ahead. First of all, let's back out all these junk commits. I'm just going to do a get reset on this one. And then we're going to add our build script. Let me see what were our changes to that script. Okay, that we can actually back out. All right, so the only changes we're committing are the ones we made to the build script, so it'll accept a get dir. And let's go ahead and run that again and just make sure that it still works. And it does not. Unknown revision or ambiguous argument. Okay. I'm going to go back and we're going to change this again. Sorry. Not so simple anymore. I'll probably just have to redo this. Let's see. Exactly why that's going on that way. Let's try it. Unrecognized argument. I guess we're going to have to copy the whole thing over in our deploy script. We can do that. We can do that. All right, I'm going to go back on the server. I'm going to go back to where our Git repo is. And I'm going to change the deploy script a little bit that's in hooks, and then we'll update that change and put it back in the local repository. So this is on post receive. What we're going to need to do then is we're actually going to need to copy over the Git directory into, oh, whoops. What was that about? We're going to need to copy over the Git directory into the working tree. Make sure we got that slash on the end there. And this is .git. There we go. All right, let's just try that then. Okay, cool. We're at a good place now. So now the problem is that there's a couple commands we use in our build script that are not installed on the server. So we need to get those installed. So I'm going to go ahead and install Webby. So curl https://webinstall.dev pipe to bash. Great, and now Webby's installed, and then we'll install SD and RG and comrack. And I don't think there was any other commands that we needed. Okay, so now those are all installed. Let's run this hook again. All right, looks like everything ran. So let's check out what our blog looks like now. And I'm imagining there are going to be potentially a couple of problems. Okay, I think the one with the table might not work out properly. Okay, looks all right. It's missing some articles. Not quite sure why, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Okay. Just scroll through here. I actually want that to be more quiet. So let me update our script a little bit, and I'm just going to remove the verbose, human readable, and progress from the output here. Okay, so we still get some of that. Alrighty. All right, let's print out what my ref name is, just to be clear. I think I'm going to have to do... I think this if statement is actually not executing properly, because I believe the way that the ref name comes in is ref's head, ref heads master or main. So I'm going to see what that actually looks like. Okay. Oh, huh. No. It actually does come in as the branch name. That's great. Oh, is that because I was running it with that branch name? That's probably what it is. Yeah, I was running it with that. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's ref heads master is how it's supposed to work. Okay. And then this means that to get the branch name, we're actually going to have to cut this. So I'm going to do my branch name, and we're going to have to run a subshell where we echo my ref name, and then we're going to cut using the delimiter as the slash. So it's going to split this 1, 2, 3, or rather 0, 1, 2. No, in this case it is 1, 2, 3. So it's going to split into fields 1, 2, and 3, and we just want the third field. So we're going to do -F3 here. And then we're going to call this branch name. Cool. Let's run that. Looking decent. All right, we're almost there. Almost there. Okay, where was that debug? Okay, let's get out of here, run the script again. We're going to look for some of that debug output to see where did the files go. All right, so we've got plenty of these still hanging around. I actually need to make sure that when the script exits, we remove those. So let's actually do this. We're going to put that remove right at the end here. And I think we're going to need to update our build script to have some of the settings that we want for ComRack. Oh, okay, maybe not. Are they here? No, not entirely. Okay, so we're going to need to update that as well. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this looks like it's replicating the bug that we already fixed. So what I want to see then is, can I get into this directory here and do a git status? I'm going to change, just remove this bare true here and see if that allows us. Good. All right, add dates to blog. Okay, so this is why we have not pushed our latest changes. All right, so we're a little bit further back there. That's fine. So I'm going to take from the, oops, I'm going to take from our hooks directory, our post receive hook. I'm going to copy this, bring it back locally. We're going to commit everything to the repository, and if we're lucky, it'll all get updated. Okay, so let me get out of here. Hooks, remote deploy. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that so I can paste the whole thing in. There we are. And I'm going to go ahead and add that. Let's see, what's our modification on the build here? Okay, so we're not going to modify the build script. That simplifies things a little bit. And I'll get rid of our junk files. So we're going to update build process, and then we're going to push. And now master has been updated, and if we're lucky, we can just refresh. We should see the updates. Tis not so. Unbound variable. What's going on here? All right, let's go back to the server. And I'm going to edit that post receive hook again. And this time we're just going to assume that it's master. We're not even going to. Oops. I don't have fish installed, so I'm going to fix that problem actually. Let's see, do I have fish on here? No, I don't. Okay, I'm going to install fish. That way I get my nice highlighting and my auto completion and all that stuff. I did sudo apt install -y fish. Okay, now that's installed. Thank you. Let me go ahead and edit my hooks again. This is post receive. I'm going to actually look up the documentation on this. Post receive get hook. I could have sworn that it was supposed to give us an argument with the reference name. Maybe it's an environment variable. Okay. Pre-receive, update, post-receive, post-update. All right, where would the branch name be? Takes no parameters. Huh. Do we have post update then? What is post update different by? Okay, post update. When it reacts to get push and updates references in its repository, it executes on the remote once after all the refs have been updated. It takes a variable number of parameters, each of which is the name of that ref which was actually updated. Hook is meant primarily for notification. Okay, so I'm probably using the wrong hook here. So let me take a look at the list of the hook names again. Pre-apply patch, pre-commit, commit message, post-commit. All right, well, to keep things simple, I'm just going to keep doing what we're doing, except we're going to get rid of all this checking for whether or not the branch is master. We're just always going to check out master. And we'll leave it at that. So we're just going to set my branch name is equal to master. And this should be hunky-dory then. Let's go ahead and try it out. Ambiguous argument. Where? Okay, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's go back to our build script. Did we? Oh, I updated the build script when I should not have. That's our problem. So I wanted to add the hooks, yes. This, we did not need to change our build script. So let me not change the build script by checking out the old version. Okay, commit the new one, update build process. Actually, this is, I should say, let's see, get rebase -I. Let's reword that. So I'm going to use reword. We don't want to update the build process. We want to update deploy process. Furthermore, it's the remote deploy process. And actually, we're not really updating it as much as we're backing it up. Whatever, we'll go with that. And now I need to force push to origin master, which you should always be careful about doing, because that can be disastrous. All right, so there are some things that we still need to change here. I think I know what to do. So one thing, we need to make sure that in the path is the place where Comrack is, which both here and on the server is in home.local bin. So we can do that, and then we need to go back on the server and figure out why it's saying it is not a Git repository, where it's running from. Because it should qualify as a Git repository. I'll go ahead and add this build script first. What did I fix with this, actually? Okay. Remote 3. Already on master. I'm going to log in. We're going to go into the repos directory. And we're going to see what's wrong with our hook yet again. Let's see, hooks. It's going to be running the build from the working tree. I think one thing that we want to do is we want to get rid of the line in the config that says that it is a bear repository. So I'm just going to do where bear is equal to anything. Well, actually just bear anything. I'm going to replace it with nothing. Because I think it was something like this. Bear equals true. Yeah, let's do that. We'll get rid of that. We actually could probably use spaces here. We'll have to test that out to see how well it works. Okay, hooks, post receive. I don't see any problems there. Looks like that all worked out. Okay, let's try it back on the regular server again. I mean, try it back from a push. So I'm going to do again where I'm going to create a junk file. I'm going to add the junk file. I'm going to commit the junk file. SD command not found. We did add that, didn't we? Local bin SD. Okay. What you complaining about? I know. I'm going to have to make that change with the path. I'll have to make that right here. It actually should not go into the build script. Oops. .local bin. There we are. So basically this is just telling it where it needs to look for executables like SD and such. When it installs to this location, but when Git is running, Git didn't have that information for some reason. So that should solve that problem. And then we also have a problem with ComRack. I'm going to open up another tab and just print out my ComRack config and make sure that it's the same on the server. And let's see here. Do we have the option of telling it which config file to use? Because it would probably make sense to put that in the database. We do. We can tell it which config file to use. Okay, with -C. Got it. All right. So there's our config file. I've got that copied, so I'm going to close that window out. And then I'm actually going to put the config file in with hooks. We'll call this comrec.config. Okay. Let's go back here. Get reset. Check out build.sh because we don't want to make those changes anymore. Add hooks and commit this to add comrack config. Oh, you know, we do need to update the build script. Where's comrack at? we need to tell it that we're going to use its config file right there. Not the local config of my computer, but the config that we've defined in this repository. Okay, is there anywhere else we need to do that? Yep, we need to do that down here too. Okay, so we want to add this. Update comrack config. Moment of truth. Oh, we're going to have to force push because we reset the history. And we're still getting some wonky doos. I'm a little bit confused about that. Let me go in here. No, I don't want to be in that directory. What was the directory in question here? Let's go into this directory and see if I can run that build command. It worked just fine. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, what is it complaining about? It's complaining not a Git repository dot. Huh. I really don't know what to think of that, to be honest. Well, I think I'm going to have to call this one a failed experiment. And sorry, just going to have to delete this one. Take it off the books. I tried, but I messed up, and I don't have time to fix it. So we're just going to rename this video to, what do we call it? Blooper. Beyond Code Bloopers. We're going to make this one unlisted. Yep. Well, that's one way to solve it. Oh, I'm going to have to come at this with fresh eyes in the morning because I'm a little bit lost. I thought I had the right stuff figured out for my blog, and my blog will probably work for the commit that it was intended to work for. It was intended to work for a pre-receive hook, and I thought pre-receive hooks and post-receive hooks work the same way. There was a couple other problems that we ran into that I should have sorted out beforehand, but that one in particular, not having the right information is no bueno. And then, yeah, I'm very confused as to how it's running just fine when I run it manually, but not when we run it via the remote. I'm going to try a little bit more to figure this out. But I am going to go ahead and remove this from everything except for Twitch. Because you Twitch people, you can deal with the blooper reel we're having right now. But I'm not going to have this in the Facebook feed and the whatchamajig. Okay, let me step back here and just think this through. So the best way to experience the problem is by, let's see, if we run the build script, what have we got in the build script? Nothing special in here, right? We didn't make any changes. Git log isn't working, as if it's running from the wrong location. So let's go in here, check out the repos directory, hooks, post commit. Wait, was it just, oh, post receive. All right, there's the work tree. We're checking out the work tree. We don't need that anymore. We can get rid of that. We've got our set-e and set-u. Okay, we got a whole subshell thing going on. I think it should just be a problem. Let's debug this. What is the current working directory when you are run? How could it possibly say it's not a Git directory? Fatal, not a Git repository, dot. Almost seems like it's running in a different place. Okay. Let's go in here. Let's look in. So confused. How could this be? Let's see what it is in the subshell. Fatal, not a Git repository. So it never got there. What the heck? Well, this is very strange indeed. Well, this is very strange. Why would there be... What the heck could that be? All right, let's take a look at our script locally. What are we calling adding? All right, articles. For my file in source star.md, do debug print working directory. Let's also put in my file. Let's see what's going on here. So somehow it's getting some junk files. It must be. I think how domains work. Okay, let's do git pull. Already up to date. Are we sure? How is this possible? Already on master, okay. Debug, working directory. It seems like it's not updated actually, because we don't see the second debug. Let's see, what would be a better way to solve this problem? What if we could do a git clone instead? Let's try that. Let's go do repos, beyond code, go into our hooks, post receive, and instead of doing this rsync stuff, which is probably a bad idea, and I probably should have known it was a bad idea, what if we git clone present directory into the working tree? And we don't do the git checkout at all. Bless me. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's try this out. Okay, looks good. Everything's still built. Cool. Let's do a reset on this. Git diff. Okay, the only diff is build. Alright, let's add that back. Git commit whip push force origin master. And it's still upset, but why? Fatal, not a Git repository. Adding how domains work. So what is it doing? Between these two here. Let's go log in and see what this actually is. Oops. What is it? What is it? What is it? Is this the up-to-date one? Doesn't look like it. What is this? Huh, that looks up to date. So back to repos, back to my hooks. Alright, so let's go run the build script. So really the build script should know where it's building from. Let's just put that in the build script. Okay, it's gonna... Let's just add that in for debugging. Whip push. Alright, so we're getting my current working directory, but then we're getting not a Git repository. How could we be getting that? How? My current working directory. And then this. How could we be getting d.html? This doesn't make any sense. Alrighty. Whip, whip, whip. Are we getting closer? Okay, so I think the problem here is that my articles is expected to be more. Oh, if I'm echoing that out, then that's going to be wrong. So that's why that's not working. So I created my updated my file. So git log thinks that is not in the right place here for some reason. Did we see a my file in the output? We saw my CWD. We did not see a my file. Okay, let's not capture all of that output. So let's do, what is it? I think it's and. Like that, maybe. Echo ambiguous redirect, okay. I forget what that's supposed to be. Oh, that's weird. So let's see here. I want to echo to standard out. I mean, standard error. Gosh, how is anybody supposed to remember that? There we go. What? Okay, cool. So now we're getting somewhere. Not a Git repository. All right. All right, let's try this one. See if anybody put in the comments what I'm doing wrong. Nope. No one's watching. Nobody knows. What is going on here? Sorry, folks. All right. Saying it's not a Git repository, but it obviously is a Git repository. So that's where my file is. That's the working directory, which obviously is a Git repository. Let's see if we can adjust the subshell a little bit. How can it say it's not a Git repository? What am I doing wrong here? Git log, pretty format. My file. Not a Git repository. What is going on? Strange things are happening. Strange things. Interesting. Very interesting. Huh. Haven't had that problem before. The subshell is executing in the wrong directory, but why? Why would a subshell execute in the wrong directory? What an interesting problem I've discovered. Okay, let's dig into this for just a second. What if we use pushd? How strange. Okay, so let's do this then. We're going to go back here. We're going to modify this yet one more time. Repos, hooks, post, receive, and we're going to give this the directory that it should be in. That's so strange. I've never seen anything like that before. Okay. Interesting. So interesting. Okay, so what would be the best way to do this? How about we put this here? Then we exit out of here. And, whoops, then we exit out of there. And then here, let's say we do dir name of the script. That should be safe, right? Okay. Not a key repository, okay. So what if we do cd? Whoops. And I did not quote that as I should have. There we go. Now I'm not even sure how I fixed it in the first place. Did I fix it in the first place? Oh, it's right there. How How is it? It's in the directory and it's not in the directory at the same time. The space-time continuum is broken. I have no idea what to make of this. All right, let's try. I don't know what else we can do here. This is just so strange. You gotta be kidding me. How is this possible? It knows that it's there. I mean, it's right there. How could it possibly not know that it's in a Git repository? How could it not know? Clone the repository. Huh. Yep, I just need to look at this with fresh eyes in the morning. I'm out.